Welcome, everybody, to another wonderful episode of HBCU Huddle. I am CJ Hurt, joined alongside, as always, my main man, Mike Wallace. What's going on, everybody?
What's going on, everybody? It's just me. It's just me and
listen,
you.
it's been a long week. It's been a long week, and it's been a short one, Mike.
It's been a long, short week. It's been a long, short week.
What's going on, Mike?
Hey, man, we're in June now. You know what I mean? And it seems like this calendar is going faster and faster with each month. I'm happy to be here, man. Looking forward to another good episode. Glad that we have taken this to the video format so you can see our faces and our inflections and reflections as we share these HBCU and Black culture storylines, man, that we got. We got plenty of them today.
Oh, absolutely. So many to get to. We'll talk about Shannon Sharp's decision to leave Skip Bayless and FS1. We'll talk also about Courtney Kirkland, an NBA official that hails from an HBCU, who is going to be officiating an NBA Finals this year. I got a pick 6 for you guys. Yeah. Hope you don't mind it. It is going to be the 6 best HBCU alums that went to the MLB or played professional baseball, rather, and so much more, Mike. But first, there was a SWAC championship in Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah. Baseball. You were there. Yeah. What was the vibe like? What was the experience?
You know, it's Atlanta is a beautiful place to spend Memorial Day weekend, man, and it was just great weather. And it just so happened I was there for the Atlanta Jazz Festival. Yeah, right? Lettucey was the headliner. Lettucey was the headliner on Memorial Day, and then my man Christian McBride was also there, and several other people there. But while I was there, I said, you know what? The SWAC tournament is going on right over here. And at the time when I made the decision to go, Grambling was the number 1 seed, as we talked about last week. They got all the way to Saturday, the semifinals day, got knocked off. And so I was planning on saying, you know what, let me go Sunday to the championship game, see Grambling, catch them, and then go ahead from there. But FAMU ran through the bracket. Bethune-Cookman knocked off Grambling in the semifinals, and FAMU knocked off rival Bethune-Cookman in the finals, to take that the automatic bid from the SWAC into the NCAA baseball regionals, which gets started this coming weekend. As a matter of fact, it starts Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Florida A&M will be making their 3rd appearance. That was the final out right there. Bethune-Cookman tried to rally. I was in the stands watching that happen, and what a dog pile right there for Coach Jamie Shoup and the Florida A&M Rattlers. 3rd trip to the NCAA regionals. They will go in as the number 4 seed in the regional, going up against number 1 seed Florida. The Gators in the Gainesville regional. Those 2 teams play on Friday to get that thing started. And, we'll see where they go, man. I mean, I think that was an impressive run that FAMU made. The atmosphere was great. The weather was beautiful. The stadium, they played at Georgia Tech Stadium, the same stadium that Georgia Tech plays this college baseball in. And I have some pictures right there, as you can see on the screen, man. And it's just, look at the sky, man. It's just not beautiful blue skies. Well-attended. FAMU was represented big time, as you see Rattler Nation right there from my vantage point, man. So it was all good. It was all good to be there.
I bet it was. I was at a different baseball tournament. I was at a 16 and under baseball tournament this weekend. And it's something about just sitting outside this time of the year, taking in a game that is just so much fun and so special. And to see Florida A&M go out there and, Grambling was the 1 seed. Yeah. And you go out there and you're not Grambling off. Then you go up against your arch rival, Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman, who last week you mentioned it, and it was
true.
They
were the sneaker, I said.
They are a really good baseball program, and you go out there against your arch rival, and you get that win. That's big time, man. That's huge. Wish them all the best. But I can't help, as we see here, that they're playing Florida in the Gainesville region. Yeah, just some things I wanted to throw out real quick about Florida, specifically with coaching. All right, so Florida baseball has a head coach, 3 assistants, a student assistant, a strength and conditioning coordinator, a director of baseball operations. So that's 6 on staff. FAMU, who has 1 head coach and 2 assistants. Yeah. Like that, the way that the resources are just, the disparity and just coaching alone is huge. Just huge when you think about what the Floridas of the world have compared to a an FCS program and specifically an HBCU. Mm-hmm. So what can we do? What needs to be done? Is there anything that can be done to improve the resources for not just football, but all of the sports on HBCU campuses?
But I mean, when you're talking about baseball, that's such a different, unique sport because that's the third, fourth, or fifth prioritized sport on HBCU campuses. And what Florida A&M is doing, they're doing it the so-called right way. Jamie Shoup, I'm sure, if you know his background, I covered Florida A&M back at the beginning of my college career, my college sports coverage career. And Jamie Shoup at that time, when I was there in Tallahassee, he was an assistant under Mike Martin at Florida State. So, he's a white coach. He's a white guy. Mm-hmm. Went to all of those NCAA regionals as an assistant under Mike Martin at Florida State. Came across the road right there and took over at FAMU and has guided them to 3 NCAA regionals now. When you look at their roster, you wouldn't necessarily think it was a HBCU because half of the roster is white players, probably another 25% is Hispanics, and then you have a handful of black players. So when you look at baseball across the board, particularly at HBCUs, that's where you see the diversity going the other way. And that doesn't take away from the experience whatsoever. To your point, there is a drastic difference in resources, and you just have to overcome that. The beautiful thing, though, is that Jamie Shoup is a guy that likes to have Florida A&M play other bigger programs. They've already played Florida. They played them on April 18th and scored 7 runs against Florida. They lost 17-7 because pitching gave out. But they are familiar with being on the field with this top-ranked team, and they won't be intimidated by any stretch. They got some big-time hitters. I saw that team hit 3 home runs in that championship game on Sunday, and they're just competitive, man. And tip your cap to Bethune-Cookman because Bethune-Cookman rallied the hard way through the losers bracket, beat Grambling twice on the same day just to get to the final. But FAMU just had too much for him, too much power for him on the final championship day. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Like I'm a very, very, like people get surprised when they see how much I love watching college baseball, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
I love college baseball way more than I love Major League Baseball. But it's just one of those things where this is an exciting time if you follow baseball. I've covered NCAA regionals before, and it's just big time this time of year. As you said, the weather's perfect usually, and a lot of scoring, a lot of runs. And like I said, kudos. Now, usually you have 2 HBCU Division I conferences. The reason why there's only one that made it is because the MEAC folded in its baseball program and took their top 4 or 5 teams and converged with the Northeast Conference. Okay. University of Maryland Eastern Shore was the best HBCU to come out of the MEAC. They lost in the second round of the NEC tournament and didn't make it through that tournament. So the NEC sent their traditional team to the tournament. The MEAC didn't have a representative in the tournament, but Florida A&M is the lone HBCU in the NCAA baseball region.
And that's something we see across sports happening, where multiple conferences are joining together to try and keep that 8 bid. Yeah. So the OVC and I think the Big Sky in football, I can't remember who the OVC has partnered with in football. They've done that there. That's not uncommon. Right. I read off the coaches. Yeah. Right. This is the rest of Florida staff, though. This is what you're working against. They got an assistant director of communication, an assistant director of equipment. Yeah. They got player development data analysts. They've got an assistant director of student services, a director of sports nutrition, director of marketing, a program assistant, and an athletic trainer. Yeah. That's the support staff. So Florida staff, 12 to 15 deep. Yep. Florida A&M staff, 4.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing it all. 25%. Yeah. You know what I mean? You only have 25% of the staff and support resources that line up. I remember, covering Florida A&M baseball 20 years ago, man, way back in the day. And at the time, man, the coach used to tell me, and this was a different coach, Jamie Shoup has come since then, but he was like, man, when you come over, okay, here's the press box. And I'm like, Coach, man, why am I seeing you, you loading up the hot dogs in the grill too? Like he's coaching the baseball team.
Probably lining the field.
Cutting the grass, and also making sure concessions has enough hot dogs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what you have to do sometimes, man. Unfortunately, resources have been better since then. But I don't think they'll ever, be on even par. There's just a difference in terms of a major corporation and sort of the smaller schools. That's going to be a dynamic whether you're talking about HBCUs or non-HBCUs at the level. It's just going to be a disparity.
That's FBS, FCS money. That's the
and it's more
difference.
exaggerated with HBCUs, though.
And it's more exaggerated, but you grab me Montana State and compare what their baseball program has to like Oregon. I bet we'd see some pretty drastic differences. That is the difference, and not just it is exaggerated by HBCU standpoint. Don't get me wrong, but that is the difference in not just FBS, FCS, but Power 5, SEC,
and everybody else,
Big Ten,
and everybody
and
else.
then everybody else. You brought up something, Mike, and I wanted to talk about it because I was sitting at the tournament I was at with kids hopeful to get to college and play baseball with the desire to play for HBCUs. And some of their frustration was, hey, I'm sending out tape, I'm sending emails, I'm playing in these tournaments near these HBCUs. I can't get anybody to come see me. Then not unfortunately, but then I look at the roster, and you brought it up with Florida A&M. It is a really diverse roster. Do they even want me to come there to play? It is hard. Again, it's only if he's loading the hot dogs and lining the field, he being whoever the baseball coach is at your HBCU at that time, he's probably also trying to field calls and emails and get out to see everybody. It is so hard to take care of the recruiting in-house at home without the right connections. Do you think that there should be, I guess, more done on that front to make sure that black baseball players who want to go to HBCUs are able to be seen by these coaches? And what does that look like? Is that as simple as the athletic department saying, hey, we're going to allocate more money for recruiting, or we're going to hire somebody else to come in and be a recruiting coordinator for not just baseball, but we'll give them a couple of sports because I know money is tight. What does that look like, though? Man,
that looks like you said, resources. Can you get scouts to the fields where African-American players are playing? And, I as you were speaking, CJ, I reflected back on my relationship with Kerry Cobb, who runs the Memphis Little League here, and, Memphis Little League baseball here. And he does it. He's a former tight end with the University of Memphis, also played baseball at Memphis, 6'3", 260, 270 guy. And he has that field over there in Whitehaven, man, where all of the Memphis Little League teams play. And my son played in that league for 3 years, and he's a one-man operation with a couple of assistants there. And he's been talking to me year after year, struggling to get people aware that that league exists. And as we were talking about it, we have a chance now over the next couple of weeks, to think about maybe going into the fall to maybe bring him in to the HBCU Huddle and sort of talk about that challenge and make, increase awareness that, these leagues do exist for guys to come. He has college scouts come to watch these Little League players so that they can go to those college camps and then get into that pipeline. But it's tough, man. It's such a regional sport. It's such a niche sport, and the development is completely night and day. You talk about staffs being different from Florida A&M to Florida. Youth baseball in this city is completely different from what Kerry is doing with black young men, black boys playing baseball, to what I see out in Collierville and Germantown.
Yes.
And out that way. Those kids are phenomenal in terms of their development because more money, more resources, and that sport is a little bit more important.
Was talking with parents, parents of black kids, multiple, just, hey, how much you think that bat costs? I don't know, bat at Walmart, like 75, 80. It's a nice looking bat. That's a cheap bat, and it was $375. Cheap bat, aluminum bat, $375. The good bats, closer to $5, $6, $7. $100. Just for the bat. Never mind the gloves, the batting gloves, the actual glove. God forbid your child plays catcher, the catcher equipment, the catcher's mitt,
all of that.
And on top of all of that, the sliding glove, the elbow pads, like there's the shin guards. Like it is a real expensive sport to play, and you are investing so much time and so much money. Don't even get me started. I learned this. There are wood bat tournaments, and so you've got to have your own wood bat also. And if that bat breaks,
that's it.
If it's outside of warranty, like you got to go buy another wood bat for another $400, $500, man. It is a really expensive sport to play. But when a black child decides, this is the sport I want to play, and the family puts so much behind it, and they are emailing and reaching out, trying to get in touch with HBCU coaches, because that's where the kid wants to go. To not hear back from them can be a little bit frustrating, can be a little bit disheartening. But you've got, like, it's both things can be true. That is disheartening. They just aren't staffed well enough to be able to get out there and reach out and see everybody.
You have to recruit those schools just as much as you expect them to recruit you.
Yeah.
But it also takes means to travel. Baseball, the equipment issue is one thing in terms of how much it costs. But to be an effective baseball player and develop, you got to travel. You got to go to these circuits and these different places and these camps and these developmental opportunities, getting into a batting cage, spending money to work on your batting and all of those
money on an instructor trainer.
That too. Now, having said that, that's an individual family cost. I would also counter, and it's a soft counter, not even a hard counter to what you're saying. But, man, shoulder pads, cleats, helmets cost a lot in football too. And there's no shortage of our young men playing football.
That's not on the parent.
That's why I said it was a soft counter. But at some point, these leagues have to find the money to be able to buy that kind of equipment. And that's an expensive sport too when you talk about that. But, again, it's one of those things where, baseball, man, is just such an underserved sport for our talented athletes and young men and women. And, once we get more of them in, I think there's so much opportunity. And your pick six is going to allude to what the other end of that spectrum can look like when you do get that talent into a baseball pipeline. And they traditionally can do well once they matriculate up to the minor leagues and into the major leagues.
Absolutely. And so putting a bow on it.
Yeah.
It is an expensive sport to play, and when the kid and the family has committed to playing the sport, you got to be able, if you're the HBCU, whichever one you are, you've got to be able to get out there
find them.
And find the talent. The pick six, Mike, you brought it up. I got the best HBCU baseball players in the majors. In the majors. I should have tweaked it to say professional, because number 6 right off the top. Historically, because number 6 never played in the majors. So here's my pick 6. We start off at number 6 with Ray Brown, pitcher out of Wilberforce. Huge part of the Negro Leagues. Huge what if in the Negro Leagues. You're talking about somebody who led the Grays to 8 pennants in a 9-year span. Somebody who also won 2 championships in the Negro League, 8-time wins leader, 2-time ERA leader. I do believe he had the Triple Crown in 1938. That's how far back we're going with this one. Ray Brown comes in at number 6 for me. Number 5, Tommy Agee, center fielder out of where, Mike?
Oh, yeah. Grambling State, man.
You know it. 2-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove, AL Rookie of the Year, World Series champ, and he is a Mets Hall of Famer.
AG. You got him.
My bad. Joe Black, Morgan State pitcher, first black pitcher to win a World Series game, won 2 Negro League championships with the Baltimore Elite Giants. Number 3, Cecil Cooper, first baseman, Prairie View A&M, 5-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove recipient, 3-time Silver Slugger, 2-time AL RBI leader, played for both the Red Sox and the Brewers, holds a bunch of records for the Brewers, including hits in a single season for the Brewers, and he had the stolen bases in a single season up until Prince Fielder broke that record in, I do believe, 2009,
which is crazy
for the Brewers. Prince Fielder. I saw that. That's why I said it, because Prince Fielder I knew was a big boy.
Yeah,
Prince Fielder could move, man. Andre Dawson comes in, outfielder from Florida A&M. For me, played for the Expos, Marlins, Cubs, Red Sox, 8-time All-Star, NL MVP, NL Rookie of the Year, 8-time Gold Glove winner, 4-time Silver Slugger, NL home run leader 1 time, RBI leader as well, NL home run leader and RBI leader in 1987, and he's a Hall of Famer as well. And first, I think it's pretty easy. I think if you have most of these lists, you look up and you say, oh, Lou Brock, out of Southern, one of only 33 people to be in the 3,000 hit club. Also, second all-time in stolen bases with just over 900 stolen bases. 8-time NL stolen base leader. First ballot Hall of Famer. 79% of the vote, almost 80% of the vote. And second in stolen bases all time, like I said. Like, that's my list. Mike, tweaks, thoughts, addendums.
Well, are we staying here? Or are we
we're
going
to stay here. We're going to stay here.
Okay. Man, listen, no question at all with your 1, 2, 3. I'm with you. You went historic with the 4 and the 6 right there, and that's to be expected and that's to be appreciated because hopefully those who are watching this will go back and look up Joe Black and Ray Brown, right, and understand how much talent was in the Negro Leagues. I mean, that was one of my passions in terms of research and history, was reading up on the old Negro Leagues. And Homestead, the Homestead Graves, I have so much of their memorabilia at home because that was one of the Negro League teams that played in 2 different cities, right? So they played their home game. They split their home games between Pittsburgh and D.C. So they would just go up and down and play home games in both. The one name that I have that I don't see up there that I would have found a way to get in there, and it's funny because you kind of alluded to him when you made the reference to Prince Fielder and Cecil Cooper, Ricky Weeks.
Yeah. Oh,
Ricky Weeks.
How did I leave Weeks off?
Ricky Weeks, and look, Ricky Weeks was a guy that I noticed when he was at Southern, and he spent 2 seasons at Southern. And he set the NCAA Division I batting title record by batting .465 in 2 years. That's the highest batting average
Weeks
ever.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he win the award for best amateur baseball player
of the year?
Yep.
Player of the year. Yep. Coming out of Southern in 20. He was a Major League Baseball All-Star with the Milwaukee Brewers in 2011.
Yep.
Playing alongside Prince Fielder and Ryan Braun with those Milwaukee Brewers teams. This is a guy, like I said, in 2002 as a sophomore, he batted .495 with 20 home runs at Southern. He was just a phenomenal player. Picked number 2 overall by the Brewers in the Major League Baseball draft. Played 14 years with 4 different teams, but mostly, he was an all-star 1 year. Had some injuries and that kind of thing, but he was a phenomenal baseball player in the modern era of the game. So Ricky Weeks is the only guy that I would slide in there, and I may even put him somewhere between 4, 5, and 6, somewhere around there. But I wouldn't take off any of those names that you had there. That was just one guy I wanted to give at the very least, honorable mention.
He absolutely warrants an honorable mention.
At the very least, absolutely, yeah. So that's what I have there. Brock, man, that's a given.
Yeah,
that's a given. When your name is mentioned in a Tribe Called Quest song, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
But, I broke the chair.
You definitely get that. Andre Dawson, I spent plenty of time around him.
You did?
Because he was he's a front office executive with the Florida Marlins.
Okay,
when I was in Miami.
Got you.
And used to do some Marlins games from time to time when I worked for the Miami Herald. He was always there, 6'6", tall. I mean, even in his 50s, he looked like a very, very capable athlete that can go back out there and play, man. And he was the first guy I ever saw at a restaurant eat a chicken wing, like the flap, right? Not the drum. The flap. Put it in, pull it out.
All in one.
Straight bones.
I still can't do that.
Straight bones.
I hate flats because of it. I don't like I have to break it up and then eat one part and then come back and eat the other part.
My man.
I've never seen that. I've never been able to do that. I've seen it. I've never been able to do it.
Yeah, he used to also own a part of a black restaurant in Miami, and it was called Mahogany Grill. And that used to be one of my favorite spots to go to. Great restaurant in Miami. But he would be up in there, posted up, and eating. He would have a Caesar salad with his wings, with 6 wings and a Caesar salad. And man, he would sit there and put that flap in his mouth, pull it out, man. It was just straight bone. And I'm like, dang, yo, that's talent.
Yes, it
talent.
is.
That's why he's a Hall of Famer, man. For that and many other reasons.
Right. All right, we're going to take a break right here. We'll come back and we'll talk some more about what's going on in the HBCU universe up next on HBCU Huddle.
The summer concert experience of a lifetime.
My name is Erica Badu.
With the Grammy Award-winning Erykah Badu.
She gave me the life that I came to live.
Erykah Badu, like you've never seen her before. The music, the vibe of Erykah Badu with special guest Yasin Bey. The Follow Me Tour with Erykah Badu. July 21st at FedEx Forum. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
Can't be tied. Can't be tied. I be in
Brody want no friend. Throwing alley-oop. Turn something to nothing. Bro, I'm living proof. How can I lose when we the who's?
This is the Nike Air Footscape Woven.
Yep.
So this is kind of a lifestyle running shoe.
Yeah.
That's sold out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
These
have resale value, too.
Those have resale value on them.
Footscapes are comfortable.
Footscapes are so
I
comfortable.
love Footscapes.
They're so
comfortable, light.
They're hideous to look at, but they are so comfy.
It's a cow.
Yeah, they're comfy.
The top area.
Don't look at that particular one.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back in, everybody. HBCU Huddle. Me, CJ Hurt, Mike Wallace. Mike, let's get to our Culture Maker segment this week. We got some HBCU flavor in the NBA Finals with officiator.
Yeah.
Officiator?
Yeah.
Officiating? Officials?
Yeah. Yep.
Courtney Kirkland covering the NBA Finals this year.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about culture makers, the NBA put out its list of the 12 officials that will be working the NBA Finals between the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets, which starts Thursday night with Game 1. So you got a rotating group of 12 officials, and Courtney Kirkland, Southern University's own Courtney Kirkland, will be officiating in this series, a game or two there. And this is his third time being picked. It's a reward. Like it's an honor system as these officials matriculate up through their career. Courtney's a young guy. He's one of the younger guys that'll be among this group of officials there. So that shows the kind of respect that he has. And, again, HBCU ranks have produced two names in this news cycle when it comes to the officials, because for all of the positivity and the work that Courtney Kirkland put in to get his spot in the finals, on the flip side, Eric Lewis is caught up in, sort of a scandal, sort of an investigation with the NBA. If you missed that story, Eric Lewis, veteran, 19-year NBA officiating veteran, did not get picked for the finals as the investigation continues into whether he used a burner account on Twitter to defend officials and referees among fans who are griping and complaining and bitching about fans about the games. So that's the kind of, the NBA's investigation is ongoing. The league spokesman, Mike Bass, announced that Eric Lewis, who we spoke to, Grind City Media, he was one of the many HBCU alums who are in the NBA officiating ranks, who I had an interview with a couple seasons ago as we honored the officials in the NBA who went to HBCUs. And, Eric Lewis and I had a good time, man. We talked for about 45 minutes. He's a Bethune-Cookman guy. He's one of the veterans among the HBCU brotherhood. And I hate to see this happen for him. I get it, man. It's thick skin. I mean, you got to have thick skin when you're a referee. And to allegedly get on Twitter, create a burner account, and start going back at people, clapping back at people who are criticizing officials. You just got to stay away from social media, man. Whether you're 55 or whether you're 15, sometimes you got to know when to turn it off.
Social media is supposed to be fun.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
and so if you find yourself getting riled up and worked up about what's going on social media, just put your phone down and get away from it.
Easier said than done, though.
I
mean, that's sort of oxymoronic, though, because here's the reason why, CJ. Like, to get riled up on anything via social media is a detachment from reality a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So to have the wherewithal to say, okay, I'm riled up, and now I'm not riled up anymore, let me put it down. It's such a hard thing to do, man. It's either you're in or you're out. But but a lot of, we all struggle with that. We all do. You know what I mean? I'm not really on social media all that much, but when I am on it, yeah, you can look at you weigh and you gravitate more towards the one or two negative comments that made about you than the 20 or 30 that are positive, right?
And as a referee, you get no positive comments. you just don't.
It doesn't exist.
You don't
right?
get When's the last time you heard somebody say, "Oh, referee so-and-so did a great job. That was a really good job by that referee"? You don't hear that. Never.
Unless it's sarcasm.
Nobody's going to sit here and midway through the second quarter and go, you know what? NBA Finals, so far, this has been a really good officiated game. let a couple of quick whistles pop off. Let somebody miss an out-of-bounds call. It'll immediately become the worst game in NBA history.
Yeah.
It will. Worst officiated game in NBA history. So I get that. I don't understand what the problem is. I think referees should be allowed to defend themselves. I think refs should be, if you're allowed to defend yourself, though, you also got to go to the podium and answer some questions. I think that is something that refs should be allowed to do also, or be made to do also.
They do have a layer of transparency when they have a pool reporter go into the officials' locker room to get a statement when there's a controversial play or controversial call that helped decide a game. I have seen that. I have been a pool reporter before who's gone in and got the quote. Giving them a platform to get up there after the games to answer why they did this and that might be a little dicey, though, because then that's making them a part of the game when they're really supposed to be an ancillary part. But the way these games are now, and as intense as they are, and as much stakes, I can see that happening. Like I can see it getting to a point where you have to make an official or an official supervisor responsible after a game to go in front of the media and explain that crew's work. You know, I mean, you have the last 2-minute report. You know what I mean? You have those out there now.
Extend it out.
And just extend it out and put a voice behind it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before we get out of here, Shannon Sharp has made the decision. I think he reached an agreement with FS1 to leave Undisputed with he and Skip Bayless. Yeah. This is news on this show because Shannon Sharp is an HBCU alum. Mike, what do you think about what's going on with Shannon Sharp and FS1?
Shannon Sharp,
Savannah State's own.
Savannah State, tight end, obviously Hall of Famer, did most of his damage in his work in the NFL with the Denver Broncos, and outspoken. And he's obviously had some comments to say about the Memphis Grizzlies during the season. He was in the middle of the dust up with Dylan Brooks and T. Morant and those guys during the regular season back in the spring in that game in L.A. So he's not necessarily, a friend of the organization or a friend of Grizzlies fans, but you got to respect the man for climbing to the top of not only his field that he was born and created to play in terms of football, but also at the top of the media game too. Depending on which report you read, this was either Shannon being forced out or them coming to a mutual agreement or Shannon saying, hey, that's enough. What I do know is that there's been some very, very heated exchanges between Skip. It's a debate show. It's supposed to be heated. But I think they crossed the line to make a couple of these debates over the last year a little more personal than they needed to be. We talked about the 2 incidents coming in where, number one, I think Shannon took some heat from Skip over jealousy of Tom Brady. And I thought Skip went too far, saying your career paled and you weren't squat compared to this guy. This man is a Hall of Famer sitting across from you every single day. You got to show a little more respect for that. And then the other story was the one. Remind me of what
Damar Hamlin.
Damar Hamlin.
Shannon decided not to go in the studio after Skip tweeted. I can't remember what exactly it was.
Get on with the game.
Get on with the game, basically.
Yeah.
With Damar Hamlin, and felt like that was too insensitive and wanted Skip to take the tweet down.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, these guys are using these debate show platforms to enhance their brand, to rile up, people. And I just got finished reading Stephen A's book, Straight Shooter, and I hope to get Stephen on either our show or one of the GCM platforms in the coming weeks while he's working the NBA Finals to talk about that. But the debate show, and Shannon got his opportunity with Skip because Skip left ESPN when he was opposite First Take with Stephen A. Smith. So Skip left, went to Fox, made a whole bunch of money there. Stephen A. became the king of First Take. Skip became the king of Undisputed. Shannon Sharp came in and became the so-called new Stephen A. Smith. And they had a remarkable show for the last few years. And it's just at a certain point, man, it's not going to work out. So Shannon, to wrap this up, Shannon Sharp's last assignment on that show, Undisputed, will be through the NBA Finals, and then they're going to part ways. So it's going to be interesting to see where Skip goes next with his counterpart on that show and what happens with Shannon Sharp, because I do think he has a future in the media. His Club Shay Shay podcast is very, very entertaining. I love it. But he's going to have a different brand if he's going to leave Fox Sports to continue his career.
I really do enjoy Club Shay Shay.
Yeah.
I think that because of his familiarity with the guests, I think it makes for the interviews being more relaxed, and because the interviews are more relaxed, you get more out of these guests. Yeah. Also, there are guests that I want to hear from. I want to hear from Steve Harvey.
That was a phenomenal.
I want to hear from Ricky Smiley. Like those are people who I want to hear from, and I think he does a great job on that. The Lamar Odom one, the way that he was able to handle Lamar, who is a bit slower of the tongue right now, doesn't speak with the same sort of rhythm that he once did. I think that was really good. Now we all know why Lamar Odom has the not speech problems, but why he is speaking a bit differently now than what he was. I think those are really, really good. Mike, if Undisputed and First Take completely went away, I got to be honest. I'd be more than okay.
That doesn't do anything for you. Those debate formats.
I hate what those things create in sports.
Okay.
Like I don't like the the GOAT conversations that always come up because of those shows. I don't like the strange topics that the way we blow things out of proportion because of those types of shows. Like, yo, is this really a story, or is it a story because these two on opposite sides of the spectrum, two people who were like, okay, you take one side, I'll take the other side, and we'll just scream and holler about it. Like, is it a big deal, or is it just a deal because these guys got to screaming and hollering about these things? I think that it makes, while Club Shay Shay is some of the best in media right now. Like, you sit down for an interview, if you ask me right now, best interview in sports media, I would absolutely bring Shannon Sharp's name into it because of Club Shay Shay. But when I think about the health of the industry and the what it's doing to sports fans, I think it's absolutely dumbing them down. Those debate shows absolutely dumb people down, and I don't like them at all. But like, you gotta respect them because they're getting money. They're getting viewers. They are getting viewers in the hundreds of thousands, millions to come in and watch their shows. And then you grab a clip from the show and throw it up on social. It's nothing to see a clip from Undisputed go out there and grab a couple million on social. A clip from Stephen A. Smith and First Take grab a dozen million, right? Like, there is nothing for it to be 12 million on social, 32 million on social for just a clip. So I get it. Got to do what the people are interested in. That's how you get advertisers. That's how you get money. But man, it is a cesspool of sports talk to me.
I can see why, and you articulated that well. And I do have some counter to that. But at the end of the day, it's about your taste. It's about what you. I do think that it changed the media landscape, sports media. It completely changed it, and it's made it more clickbait. It's made it more incendiary. It's made it more, and it made it less about dialogue and more about these diatribes, right? And it made and sometimes, like you said, are we making this an issue just so we can debate it, or is it an issue we really need to have some discourse about? And if I'm yelling at you and you're yelling back at me, it's going to be compelling. But are you going to walk away from that feeling like you learned something? Probably not. But the fighting and debates and all that kind of stuff is entertaining. At the end of the day, Shannon Sharp did his thing. I think his career is going to be, now he can spin off, and he doesn't have to be second fiddle to anyone. And there's going to be some media place or something that's going to take his property and what he's been able to do, and he's going to. I love the fact that we could have two African American men in Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith at the head of this kind of game, and because it's always been the other way, and I think they both have earned the right to be able to have their own shows, and hopefully somewhere, maybe he goes back to ESPN, maybe he does something with a different network, maybe the sky's the limit for him because he created his own lane now.
There's so much knowledge there.
Yeah.
That there is. There's football knowledge, one, and then he's a character. And that's going to work well. He is just himself, not portraying anybody else, but him. He himself, just organic, naturally is a character. And we love characters on this show. We do. That'll do it for this week's Huddle. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I think we're going to take some time off, Mike. I think I earned it. Just going to be honest with you, baby. Think I earned some time off, baby.
Yes, sir.
So I think we're going to get about 2 weeks in.
That's cool.
We'll figure it out. Yes. We'll talk about it. But listen, go back and listen to some of our other episodes. We've been visual now for five episodes. So go back. Last week's episode was really, really good. Mike shared his 6 most beautiful campuses from an HBCU perspective. We've also talked to so many great people, and we discussed so many great things from the football season this past year. Go back, catch a couple episodes that you missed, and come back with us. We will be right here. Yeah. Right here in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It'll be closer to SWAC Media Days.
SWAC Media Days, but we're also going to be bringing you some information about the SWAC Picnic in Memphis,
SWAC Picnic.
So we got that coming up as well, too. So we'll holler. We ain't going too far.
We'll holler.
We ain't going too far.
We'll absolutely do that. For Mike, I pointed to myself when I said Mike. For Mike, I'm CJ. We'll talk to y'all soon.